Okay, so in the world of sustainable real estate, you hear two terms thrown around all the time: green building and ESG. Now, most people kind of use them interchangeably, but that confusion, it's not just semantics, it can be a huge multi-million-dollar mistake. So today, we're going to clear all that up. So let me start with a question for you. Picture this: a brand new, state-of-the-art, super energy-efficient building. It's got the shiny LEED gold plaque and everything. It ticks every single green box you can think of. But what if building it meant an entire community of low-income residents had to leave their homes? Is that project really sustainable? You know, that one question gets right to the absolute heart of the issue.
And that right there, that's the big myth we're going to bust today. So many people think a green building is automatically a great ESG investment. But as we just saw, it's just not that simple. There are actually two completely different ways of looking at the world.
All right, so let's dig into the one we all think we know: green. I mean, we hear about green cars, green energy, but what does it really mean when we're talking about a building? And maybe more importantly, is just being green actually good enough? When we talk about a green building, we're really talking about the physical thing itself, the nuts and bolts. It's like you're looking through a microscope, zoomed way in on just the asset, the steel, the glass, all the systems whirring away inside. So what are you actually measuring? Well, you're looking at stuff like, how much power is it sucking down? Is it smart about its water use? Is the air inside actually healthy for the people breathing it? And yeah, of course, does it have that fancy LEED certification? Look, these are all super important things, don't get me wrong, but they only tell you part of the story. Which brings us to the other side of this whole thing. If green building is the microscope, then ESG, well, that's the wide-angle lens. It's about pulling the camera way back to see the entire landscape, not just the single building. So what is ESG? It stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance. And it's basically this big, holistic framework that asks you to think way beyond the physical building. It's about its total impact on the world, from where the materials came from to how it affects the neighborhood, and even how the company itself is run. And when you put them side by side like this, the difference just pops. The green building mindset is laser-focused on the building itself. It's asking, is it efficient? The whole goal is to optimize the asset. But ESG? It's all about the bigger picture. It's asking, what's the total impact here? The goal is so much broader. It's about creating holistic value. So what are these bigger questions ESG asks? Well, under E for environmental, it's not just about the monthly energy bill. It's about, can this building withstand future climate events? And where did all this stuff come from? Then you've got S for social, and that's where our first question comes back in. Does this thing actually help the community? Is it creating local jobs? And finally, G for governance asks, hey, who's actually making the decisions here? It is a totally different ballgame. Okay, so who cares, right? Why does this distinction even matter? Well, because if you ignore this difference, you're creating a massive blind spot in your investment strategy. And trust me, it's a blind spot with a very serious price tag. Yeah, this isn't just some philosophical debate we're having for fun. This is all about the money, about financial performance. Because getting this right, understanding green versus ESG hits your bottom line directly. And the numbers? Well, the numbers really tell the story here.
First up, let's talk about just going green. The data is pretty clear. Healthy, certified green buildings can charge more for rent. We're talking a premium of up to 7.7%. And hey, that's a really solid return. It proves that focusing on the building itself definitely pays off. But that's not where the story ends.
Because when you pull back that lens and go for a full ESG strategy, the potential returns get even better. The funds that are built entirely on ESG principles, they're aiming for returns between 12 and 15%. Now that jump, that's the real financial reward for thinking outside the four walls of the building. So what's the big idea here? What's the fundamental strategic difference that creates all that extra value? It really just boils down to one simple but powerful question. Are you just solving problems that already exist, or are you actually preventing them from ever happening? And this right here, this is the key takeaway of this whole explainer. Green buildings solve market failures. ESG prevents them. Just let that sink in for a second. A green building is a great fix for a problem that's already there, right? Like wasting energy or having bad air. And fixing that stuff is valuable, for sure. But ESG, it plays on a whole other level. It's about getting ahead of the problem. Think about it like this. You can have the most beautiful, shiny, LEED-certified building in the world, but it can still get completely stopped in its tracks by huge protests if the local community feels like they've been ignored. And trying to fix that problem after the fact, that's a messy, expensive nightmare. An ESG strategy, on the other hand, prevents that from ever happening, because it's about talking to the community from day one. It's about building value that's going to last.
So that leaves us with one last question, and this one's for you to chew on. When you look at your own portfolio, your own strategy, are you just focused on solving today's problems, like your energy bill? Or are you taking that bigger, wider view to stop the really tough, complex challenges from ever showing up? Because as we've just seen, the difference between those two approaches, well, it could be worth millions.